What's up guys, it's Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming the video that everyone has been waiting for. This is my favorite albums of 2017. I was going to do one of these last year and I never ended up doing. Life just kind of got in the way. Shit happens, whatever. There was so much good music to come out this year and there was so many albums I loved so much that I figured I had to film one of these videos. If you guys follow me on Twitter or have been watching my videos, you probably know a lot of these albums because I talk about them all the time because they're that good. Yeah, these are my top 10 albums of the year. We're going to start from 10 and go down to 1. But first I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. Alright, I have 4 honorable mentions that were good and I enjoyed but just didn't make my list. And the first one is Great Heights and Nosedives by Rome. I love Rome. I've seen them a couple times. They're wonderful people and this is honestly such a huge step up from their debut album Backbone. I liked some of the songs but overall as an album it wasn't super cohesive, it wasn't super great, but this is such a huge step up. If you've listened to Rome and haven't really listened to this album, definitely go check it out. I think you will be surprised. The next one is You're Not You Anymore by Counterparts. I really wanted to put this on my list. It would have been number 11 on my list. I really only got into Counterparts at the beginning of this year when they were announced for Warped Tour, and I wanted to see them. Unfortunately, it clashed with another set, so I didn't get to see them. Fragile Limbs and the title track, You're Not You Anymore, great songs. Honestly, I love them so much. I don't know what it's called. Is it melodic hardcore? I don't really know how you describe it, but if you're into anything like that, definitely go check it out. Good album. Next honorable mention, Overexposed by Sleep On It. The only reason this didn't make my list is because I hadn't given it enough time. I've only listened to it through a couple times, but when I did listen to it, I enjoyed the whole thing, and I've seen some of it live. Sleep On It, great dudes, very underrated at the moment. Definitely go check them out. This is a good album. I really do like this. And the last honorable mention I have is Last Young Renegades by All Time Low. There's been a lot of talk about how like, oh, this is such a bad album, but I honestly didn't love it until I saw most of it live. I have some of the best memories I've made tied to seeing these songs live with my friends. Some of these songs on there are amazing. Some of them I don't like as much, which is why I couldn't put it on my list because as an album cohesively, I don't really love it as much as the other albums I have on my list. The Last Young Renegades tour was one of the highlights of my year, so I feel like I had to put this on my album of the year honorable mentions. I was going to put this on my album of the year list, but it's not an album, it's an EP. It's my favorite EP of this year, and it is Nothing Here Is Permanent by Bearings. Bearings is a small band from Ottawa, Canada. Some of my close friends actually introduced me to them, and I saw them open for State Champs in September. Fantastic band. Fantastic songs. Honestly, this EP is flawless in my opinion. Love every single song on it. And yeah, definitely go check them out. Okay, without further ado, we're going to get into the list. My number 10 pick is Here Again by A Will Away. Now, A Will Away is a band that I really only got into this year because of this album. I think they were announced for a tour, but I never ended up seeing them. I want to see them live so badly. I just missed the tour they were on. They were on tour with, I believe it was Boston Manor, Can't Swim. It's maybe safe to say. They were in Boston the same day the Knucklepuck tour was in Boston, so I went to that instead, obviously. Hopefully 2018 is the year I get to see them. They're great. This is a fantastic album. I listened to this a lot in the fall. I don't know, it's kind of just gave me the vibes. Gravity, such a great song. Probably my favorite on the entire album. If you have not checked out A Will Away, please do. They are so good. Alright, coming in at number 9 is What If Nothing by Walk the Moon. This is their new album that came out in November. You guys know Walk the Moon are one of my favorite bands. I literally have a Walk the Moon tattoo. The only reason this is so far down on the list is because I didn't really have enough time to listen to it a ton. I've been listening to it more the past couple weeks at the beginning of January because I am seeing them in January. I love listening to this. I love Walk the Moon. It's not such a different sound, but it's definitely a very different sound than, say, Talking Is Hard or their self-titled. They're experimenting with a lot of new stuff, and I love it. One Foot, seriously, I know it's the lead single. It's probably not the best on the album, but I was so happy when they released that. It came out in like a really crappy time of the year for me, and I absolutely love it, and it means a lot to me. I love Walk the Moon a lot. They will always hold a special place in my heart. They've always been such a very big source of positivity in my life the past couple years, and I will always hold them close to me, so it's not super high on my list. If I made my list maybe a couple weeks later it might be, but just because it hasn't been out for super long and I haven't given it enough time yet. Number 8 is As You Please by Citizen. Now, this album, holy crap, this album. I've always liked Citizen, but I've never been super into them. Obviously, Youth is still a fantastic album. I did not fall in love with Citizen until this album came out. This is an album I can just put on and just listen full through for hours and hours and hours on end. There's some days I just play it and it'll loop through the album a couple times when I'm just like doing stuff on my laptop or cleaning or just doing anything. It definitely sounds like Citizen, but they did test out some like newer sounds. If you have not checked out this album, like seriously do. I know like people think Citizen peaked at Youth. Personally, I think this is their best. That's just opinion, obviously. Songs like Jet and Medicine, holy crap, so good. The title track, As You Please, also amazing. Like, I missed them on their last tour. in the fall, but I'm definitely going to try to see them in 2018. Number 7 is an album that at the beginning of the year I thought was going to be like number 1. This is Okay by As It Is. You guys know As It Is are my boys. I love those guys to death. This was such a huge step up from Never Happy Ever After. They have improved so much as musicians. I have a very strong emotional connection with Never Happy Ever After. It came out at a time where I really needed it, but this album is so much more mature and they sound so much cleaner and it just sounds so much better. They tried different styles and like Soap and No Way Out in Austin. Those are very different sounds than you would think. They definitely broke out of their pop punk mold and they kind of came out as like a band that was like, we're gonna be a pop punk band. But this is a very like not pop punk album, to be honest, and I think they did it really well. It's really good live. I've seen them twice since this came out. Patchwork Love, seriously, one of my favorite songs ever. And if you listen to As It Is when they came out in 2015 and they're like, I don't really like it, please do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and at least just listen to this new album. This band is not for everyone, but I think you will be pleasantly surprised with this new album. Alright, coming in at number 6, this is Shapeshifter by Knucklepuck. Knucklepuck, one of the greatest pop punk bands out there right now. I put pop punk in parentheses because I don't like saying bands are just pop punk because this album is not all pop punk at all. I love this album. I heard some of it live when they did their tour in the fall. Fantastic, Want Me Around, Gone, Wait, Conduit, Nervous Passenger. Honestly, this entire album is fantastic and I think it's a very newer sound. They obviously tried some really heavier stuff with Everyone Lies to Me, which is lit as fuck live, by the way. And I think they just did it so well. Cannot wait to see them in March play this. They're playing smaller venues and I think most of them are No Barricade. And I'm so freaking stoked. My favorite song off this album is Want Me Around. All the singles on this are great. I think they chose the best songs on the album to put out as singles. I know Knucklepuck is huge right now, but if for some reason you've been living under a rock and haven't listened to them, please go listen to them. Knucklepuck are freaking fantastic and they continue to prove that with the music they're releasing. At number 5, we have Paradise by Broadside. This is basically the only album I listened to throughout June and July. Like, this was my summer album. I know every word because of how much I listened to it. This is all I drove to in the summer, basically. Just songs like Paradise and Hidden Colors and Puzzle Pieces. They're just really uplifting and upbeat and like make you want to go to the beach. But they also have like the ballads in there. They have the acoustic one like Summer Stain. They have Laps Around a Picture Frame. And then they have the cutest fucking love song ever, I Love You, I Love You. It's disgusting to end off the album. It's just so cute. It makes your heart hurt. Like, holy crap, I want something like that. Like, can someone write a song like that about me? But seriously, I absolutely love this album. Like, front to back, I can listen to it non-stop. I love this band and I know they're going through a lot right now. Broadside kind of just need to take a break and like step back and realize what they want to do. But if they're actually going to go on the Silverstein tour in the spring, I'm going to go see them because I love their music and I think they're really great people. Super cool dudes. Some of my favorite songs of this year are on this album. So check out this album. I'm sure there's going to be a song on it that you like. Coming in at number 4, should actually be higher, but it's not because my top 3 I've listened to so much more, and this is an album by my favorite human on this planet at this time, and this is Harry Styles' self-titled album. I absolutely adore this man. I have since 2010, and I will probably for the rest of my life. Hands down, my favorite solo project out of all of One Direction. It's because his album was not mainstream pop. Literally like classic 80s rock, and it's amazing. I knew I was gonna like this album because it was Harry Styles, but I did not know I was gonna like it this much. I have tickets to see him in June. I'm so excited. I hope he plays the entire album. I'm going to break my neck when I hear Kiwi live. This album is just so diverse, but it's so unique because One Direction was basically solely pop music. So this is not what people expected when Harry put out a solo album. It's honestly being slept on so much because it's not pop, it's not being played on the radio. All of Louis Tomlinson's songs are being played, some of Niall's are, some of Liam's, but that's because it's boring mainstream pop music. All of it should be on the radio. Two Ghosts, Meet Me in the Hallway, Caroline, Woman, Only Angel. There's just so many songs on this that deserve more attention. I personally think it's being slept on by the public eye. I know this album is going to be an album I enjoy for a very, very, very long time. Alright guys, we're getting into the top 3. These are the 3 albums that I have basically had on loop this entire year ever since they came out. Starting with number 3, this is Feel Something by Movements. The reason this is number 3 out of the top 3 is because it came out later. It came out in October, I believe. I may be wrong on that. It came out in the fall sometime. From the second I heard it, I just knew this is gonna be so incredible. Like, I didn't even get halfway through and I was hearing songs like Deadly Dull and Daylily and Third Degree, and I was like, holy crap, Movements are literally one of the best bands in the scene right now. And the fact that this is their debut album is incredible. They've only had one EP in the past that had like 7 songs on it, which was incredible, and then they go and release this. It's not a completely different sound. It's very more produced, obviously, because I believe they're signed to Fearless Records. But holy crap, this entire album is amazing. Every single song on this is amazing, and I've heard some of it live when they toured in the fall, and it's amazing. Movements is one of the best live bands and one of the best bands in the scene right now, in my opinion. They are blowing up, which is very, very well deserved, and I think they will continue to blow up in 2018, but to me they are still very underrated. I want everyone to listen to this album. My favorite song, Full Circle, Third Degree, Deadly Dull, Daylily, Deep Red. I just listed half of the album. It's because it's so good. Like, seriously. Movements very quickly become one of my favorite bands ever since this album came out. If for some reason you haven't hopped on the Movements train yet, like, seriously get on it because they're gonna go places. Alright, number 2. My top 2 albums, they have been switching back and forth basically the entire year, but I decided, obviously. So number 2 is Lovely Little Lonely by The Maine. The best band in the world, obviously. The Maine are one of the only bands that have been around for this long that have released albums with basically different sounds in every album, but have continued to make it their own. Like, they're not trying to conform to anything. Like, the sound of every album has successfully matured with them and with their audience. Oh my god, I saw this album in full when they did their Modern Nostalgia tour in the fall, when they played American Candy and Lovely Little Lonely in full, and holy crap, it was life-changing. First of all, just listening to this entire album, you have to listen to it in order. The interlude tracks, Lovely Little and Lonely, they fade into all of the other songs. The fade in to Lovely, to Black Butterflies and Deja Vu is one of the best things that have happened in 2017. This album is completely flawless. Once I start listening, I cannot stop. You have to listen to this thing in full. First of all, it starts with Don't Come Down, which is so much fun. Like, Lost in Nostalgia. Oh, the most underrated song on this track, Lost in Nostalgia. How Do You Feel? My favorite song by The Maine is How Do You Feel? That's, I think, is a perfect way to end this album, and it's so great live. The Maine are so great live, and The Maine are just fantastic people, and if you don't support The Maine, what are you doing? And last but not least, if you know anything about me, if you follow me on Twitter, even if you follow me on like Instagram, or if you've watched any of my videos, you know exactly what I'm about to say. But my favorite album of 2017 is Adornment by Grayscale. As I wear my Grayscale sweatshirt, that was kind of planned. The day I'm filming this, I'm actually going to see them. They are opening up for 4 Year Strong's holiday show in Worcester, Massachusetts, because that's where 4 Year Strong is from. I'm going to that tonight. Super, super excited. I have never fallen in love with a band faster than I've fallen in love with Grayscale. I had heard of them previously because I have a friend from Philly that has been into them for a while, basically since they were in the Philly local scene, and she'd talk about them, and I'd listen to their EP and I'd be like, oh my god, this is good, but it wasn't necessarily something I went back to all the time until they were announced to open up for As It Is, and that's when I really started listening, and I'm like, this is good. Grayscale are good. I'm really excited to see them. By the time the OK USA tour was happening in my city, they had, I think it was either 2 or 3 songs released from the album as like singles and stuff. I hadn't listened to any of them. The date of my OK USA tour, it was actually a week before Adornment was released. I saw them live. I was at the Barricade because I had As It Is VIP, and they were absolutely incredible. I've really never fallen in love with a live band as fast as I've fallen in love with Grayscale. I didn't know any of the words of the songs, but I was familiar with some of them. Like, the second their set ended, I literally turned to my friends and I was like, that's a fucking great band. And when the show ended, I ran into, I believe it was Colin, who was the vocalist. During the set, he was like, hey, we're not supposed to, but our album comes out in a week, but we have hard copies that we're selling now, $5, come and get them. When the show ended, I ran into him. I'm like, hey, oh my god, you guys are great. Is it too late to buy a CD? And he's like, no, of course, take a CD. And I swear buying Adornment on CD was like the best choice I made in 2017. At the time, I only had the CD player in my car. So I just stuck it in my car like the day after the show, and I played it full through, and I was like, holy crap, this is really good. And that was basically the only thing I listened to in my car for a week straight. I can't even put into words how much I absolutely adore this album. Every single song, front to back, I love. Let It Rain, first of all, fantastic song to start off. And there are just so many emotionally raw songs. We have Beautiful Things, which is about suicide. There's Mum, which is just completely heart-wrenching. And then there's Slept, which is so underrated. You could say it's slept on. Seriously, it's so good. Like, every single song on this album, If I Ever See You Again, Slippin' Away, Atlantic, Come Undone, all of these songs are absolutely amazing. I know for a fact this is going to be one of the albums that I will never get tired of. It's going to be an album in 5 years I'm still going to be listening to and enjoying just as much as I am now. And Grayscale has quickly become one of my favorite bands. They're fantastic people. I've seen them 4 times this year. Tonight will be 5. Like, that's insane. Since April. They're fantastic people. I've talked to them a couple times. so down to earth, so chill. Grayscale are blowing up ever since the album release, which is awesome. So good for them and so well deserved, but I want them to blow up even more. If you have not checked out this album, which I don't know how you haven't because I talk about them all the fucking time on this channel, but seriously, check them out. 2017 was kind of a shitty year for me, like mental health wise and just in general, and this is one of the albums that I always kept going back to and that I always could go to if I wanted to listen to good music that made me feel good. I listened to this album. I have never fallen in love with an album and a band as fast as I have Grayscale. Do yourself and myself a favor and go listen to this album. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Anyways, that was just me rambling about how much I love Grayscale and how much you should go listen to Adornment, so go do that. And that is it. Those are my top 10 albums of 2017. It's kind of absolutely insane to me that it's 2018 in 2 days as of the day I'm filming this. This was a great year for music and I hope 2018 lives up to that. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite album / albums of the year are. If we have any of the same ones, let me know. That'd be awesome. If you're new here and you're just watching people's album of the year videos, hello, my name is Caitlin. I like to talk about music and other things like that on this channel. My channel's kind of a mess because I'm kind of a mess, but if you liked what you saw today, you should subscribe because that would mean a lot to me. My social media links always in the description down below. I'm always on Twitter. If you want to see what I'm up to, maybe follow me there if you want. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.